Good morning, everybody. I'm just popping on quick. Gonna hope somebody gets on here with me and takes over for a few minutes while I go down and catch a ship. Um, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. But it's Friday morning, and I thought I would just share with everybody the morning, see how it's going. Let me copy the invite link. Well, let me get rid of the emojis. Damn pesky things. Okay, back here like this. And hey, Ed Hasek, how you doing? Hey, Ed, I'm anticipating going and catching a ship that's downbound. Uh, so I'm hoping that somebody pops in here. Um, we'll see how that goes. If I can, I can't, but maybe I just have to shut it back down. I don't know. We'll see. In the message, we'll see. Maybe Dominic will pop in. I don't know. Anyway, somebody come in, I make them host or co-host and just go out for 20 minutes or so. That's my plan. The ship I'm tracking is still north about 3-4 miles, 5 miles. And but it's doing 10 knots, so the decision's going to have to be made shortly. Well, the thing of it is it's getting towards the end of the season, the shipping season, and this ship coming down, I haven't done in a while. It's the Presque Isle, so which is a really nice looking tug barge. It's coming downbound, and as you can see, the weather isn't all that bad for me to fly. It's cold; it's 32 degrees, but I've toughed out that cold before. Hey Russell, how you doing? Yeah, what I was just saying is I may have to split and go. I can either leave the stream running and hope somebody comes in. I don't know. I do have the link posted up at the top. They could probably come in and run it just by joining. Or at least be able to talk and chat. So this might end up being a grand experiment this morning. We'll see how it goes. Yep, it's about 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes before I have to leave. In order to get down there. JDS first. That's amazing. JDS, I was just saying as I'm going to be leaving here shortly, I don't have anybody on the panel. I can leave it running and then hopefully somebody will come on the panel and by using the link at the top and be at least let people know what I'm doing. But I'm going down to catch a ship that's downbound. So if anybody wants to join, please join now, and then I can make a co-host and then come right back. Otherwise, I guess I just leave it running. I've never been in this situation before. Yeah, the ship, the Presque Isle, just 32 minutes to the Black River, so that means it's about 10 or 15 minutes away from right here, right now.
We have two checkdowns in the system today, one for Cindy Smith and the other for Sun. Wide berth is requested.
So
Over.
JDS, no, don't do me any favors like that. Yeah, it's I really would like to get this one because obviously they're all okay. Justin's here.
Wow, what's going on?
Okay, I'm gonna go catch a ship real fast. It's on its way down, and
Okay.
I made you co-host. Do you want me to make you co-host or co-host?
You can make me host just in case. So.
Okay. Yeah, because it's one of the last ships to go by, and it's just a few minutes out. So I'm gonna get ready, and then you're gonna be the guy.
All right. What's up, Edward, Russell, JS? Hodges said that he's probably not going to be around much. So, because of his new girlfriend and all that stuff going on. Plus, he's pretty busy with the sign stuff. So, said he'll pop in when he can, but just don't expect him every day. So, well, maybe we'll get Laura or David to come in too. Dude, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. I'm fucking tired. I didn't sleep very well last night neither.
I'll be back, Justin.
All right.
Come on,
Fucking Russell.
messing around. Go ahead.
Ugh. You know how it is with new relationships. It's always like that. That you get comfortable with each other and then you'll kind of take a little bit more time for yourself, I guess. You want to say? Good for you, JDS. I didn't get but a few hours sleep last night. Like I said, I didn't sleep very well, so we gotta go shopping here in a little bit, so do our monthly grocery shopping, so to go load up a couple carts worth of groceries. Always fun to do. And having to bring everything in. Hopefully Paul will make it back because I do have to leave in about a half hour, so he should be back by then. Like I said, maybe a couple people will pop in. Oh, and if anybody enjoyed the Ted movies, go on Peacock and watch the Ted show. It's pretty fucking funny. If you're interested in that. You going grocery shopping too, JDS? Yeah, I gotta. That's my thing I gotta do today, and then come home and get the fridge cleaned out and Get rid of any old leftovers, all that bullshit while I'm filling the fridge up. Yeah, Ted the Bear, yeah. They did they're doing a TV show, and what it is it's like Ted when he's like a teenager with the so it'd be like Mark Wahlberg's character as a teenager. And they're living at home with their parents and stuff. But yeah, it's really, really funny. Yeah, it does to me quite often too, Edward. I don't sleep very well, to be honest with you. The other day I was like 3 or 4 days ago when I was on Murray's show, I was up for almost 24 hours. And then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I fucking finally crashed and my body just gave out. But yes, it's on Peacock or whatever. I don't know if you guys have that up there in Canada or not. Some of the streaming apps are different. Or if you got a site, you can watch it on for free. Either way. I think there's like 6 or 8 episodes. I'm on the 6th episode now, so. Yeah. I just have trouble falling asleep. Sometimes I can be dead ass tired and I'll go lay down and I still can't fall asleep. But yeah, the other day, man, my body finally did just give out. I was just fucking out till about 6 o'clock and I woke up. Fell asleep for about 3, 4 hours. Felt a little better when I got up. And then there's other times where I can go like a whole week and I'll just fall asleep like clockwork every night. Sleep the whole night. And then there's weeks where I don't get any sleep at all, hardly anything. So yeah, Paul's gonna have to catch as many ships as possible because he's getting into that slow time of the year where the locks are closed. There ain't shit to film. I'll be back in like 2 seconds. Sweatshirt is a little chilly in here. Justin, you need to get some, bro. Ah, that doesn't even help sometimes, to be honest with you. I'm actually going to talk to the doctor when I go back in the end of the month and see about let her know I'm having insomnia issues and see if there's anything that can give me to help with that. Mm. So who caught Tammy's show last night? Pretty interesting. And what's funny is I didn't see Max in the chat at all the entire time, which I thought figured he'd have been there for that one. At least in the chat. Oh yeah, I think that's his truck right there, isn't it? White truck there. JDS. Stop hanging out with Tim, bro. They might actually end up zooming in on Paul. I don't think anybody's controlling the camera though. They like to zoom in on Paul when he's down there. But yeah, I don't think anybody's controlling it. I guess Tammy's doing a part 2 to her conflicts and controversy show for next week. So and I would say the only criticism that I have about Tammy's show is she gets a little too far behind in the chat sometimes. And then, we get so far ahead in discussing something that sometimes she forgets what we're or doesn't understand the reference in the chat because she gets so far behind in it. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's hard when you're by yourself and you got 30, 40 people in the chat, if you don't have like a designated co-host. Makes it easier paying attention to stuff like that. It's like Tim actually, I'll tell you this, for as drunk as Tim gets though, that motherfucker pays attention to the shit going on in the chat. He's always on top of it. All right, JDS, we'll see you later. What's up, Mark? How's it going? Yeah, Paul went down to catch a ship, Mark, because not very many ships to catch this time of year, so he's got to get them when he can. Because they're closing the locks up for maintenance for like 2 months. So you don't get too many ships coming up and down. I think he said something about this is the final ship that came out of the locks or something. Something like that he said before he left. So then I gotta leave around 9:30, take off to go to the grocery store. Me and Sarah gotta do a shit ton of shopping for the month. So get a bunch of dinner and breakfast stuff. Don't buy a lot of lunch stuff in the house. Buy more breakfast and dinner stuff. Stretches our food out a little bit more. Especially when the kids are off, because fucking they eat everything in the damn house. Especially milk. Oh my god, the kids go through fucking milk. Well, what's funny is I think that everybody, for the most part, that was involved in that conflicts and controversy videos last night, I think besides me, I think nobody else was actually in the chat from any of those videos. Or either that or they were pissed off and just didn't say anything in the chat. I didn't see Bill. I didn't see Maddie's Drawing World. I didn't see anybody in the chat yesterday from that. Yeah, he does icebreakers, Mark, if the river freezes over, but last year it didn't freeze over. The year before, yeah, they had a bunch of there's I think the Coast Guard's got some icebreakers and they run up and down and break up the ice. But last year it didn't get even cold. Paul didn't even have no ice down there where he was at. But the year before that, that whole river was like one solid sheet. on at least on the top, and then they would come down with the Coast Guard cutters and make pathways through there for what ships were coming through. But I don't know about this year. I haven't seen any, so. Yeah, we buy by the gallons. Dude, I could buy 3 gallons of milk and that shit will be gone in like 4 or 5 days. Like that's how much milk the kids drink. Especially my son. It pisses me off too because I'll tell him don't do this, but he'll go and he'll get a big ass bowl of cereal, dump milk in it, and then pour a glass of milk to have with the cereal. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm like, bro, you're literally having milk in your cereal. Why are you pouring a cup of milk to have with it? I mean, that doesn't get wasted. They drink it, but still, it's like, dude, I got to keep them out of the milk sometimes because they're so bad. uh, I don't think Donald was in any of those videos. We talked about the ramen thing, but he wasn't in any of the other videos, was he? And Ken here on his wasn't really controversial, though. I'm talking about the more of the controversy thing. His were just minor freakouts. I didn't even call those freakouts, to be honest with you. I'm talking about the controversial stuff that was put on there. I didn't really see anybody from those videos. I wasn't even involved in those, I don't believe. I think it was just I was in the videos, but she didn't have me that said anything. It was all Dan and oh yeah, that's right. Dan was in the chat last night. He came in afterward, right after she showed him. There was quite a few people watching though. There was 54 people watching. I think some people that were in the videos were watching but weren't saying anything. I think they were staying out of the chat, to be honest with you. And TJ was there, yeah, because part of that was him. So yeah, there was a couple people there, I guess. Trying to remember everybody. Wonder if Bill's watched it yet though. She did show quite a few videos of Bill from coast to coast going on his rants. Which I understand Bill's argument too on the whole situation of getting mad about somebody trying to do the live stream during Bill Old Farts with Drones live stream, like trying to stream over that same time slot. But the way I look at it is one, it was a show from England. When they were doing their show, that's kind of prime time for them. 3 in the afternoon's kind of just whatever here in the US, right? So I don't really blame them for picking that time where they're at. But I have watched a few shows that are based out of England, and to be honest with you, there's not very many of the US pilots hanging around in those chats. Like Sean Geeks Fauna, 90% of the people in his chat aren't even American. They're all from England or wherever, so the European countries over there, you know. I actually see very few names from the other chats from the other chats that we go to when I actually watch his show. When I do catch his live streams every once in a while. There's a few names, but not very many. But like I said, I get Bill's argument, but I just don't. I don't really care about time slots, to be honest with you. There's too many people. That looks like Donald's coming in. What's up, Donald?
Howdy, howdy. Is it just you sitting here talking to an empty room?
I'm talking to the people in the chat. Paul had to go catch a ship because they're closing the locks up, so he doesn't have very many ships to film in the next 2 months. So he's got to get them when he can. He's not going to have 3 or 4 coming by the house every day. It'll be like 1 a day if he's lucky.
Gotcha.
They shut them down for 2 months out of the year for maintenance. Why in the wintertime? I don't know. I think it would be easier to do maintenance on those things like in the summer or something, but I guess they have their reasons. I don't know.
Probably more traffic.
That's true. So what you up to today?
I'm in a little bit going to be entering some ads for a Google campaign for a client. I'm learning how to do that anyway.
That shit's not cheap neither. I actually looked into it.
It's cheap to what he's paying us to do it, but I'm doing it. There's a girl that already does it, and I'm going to be kind of shadowing her and learning how to do it. Oh, there you are. And that way I'll be able to put that on my list of things I am able to do. My plan is to get, Google certified for their AdSense program, and that way I can.
You can get a certification for that?
Mhm.
How the hell? What is it? Just a course you have to take online or something?
Yeah, it's through Google. You go through their AdSense program, you can get certified to be like a that how their program works is basically it.
Oh, yeah, because I have an AdSense account, obviously, because I'm
Mhm.
monetized, but I didn't know that they actually had a certification for that. But they're actually doing actually Google has a whole online school now, like a university. You can get a certificate for like cybersecurity. You can get a certificate for writing code, all kinds of shit.
And AdSense is getting crazy, man. It's just it used to be like, okay, do this. Now it's like, okay, why don't you let our AI you kind of give us some general parameters and let our AI take over, and the AI will determine where the ad is most effective and it's accurate because it knows its own system. I'm doing that a little bit later. Right now, I'm writing a letter uh, to a client for late payment on an invoice.
Oh, the one you were
No,
dealing with the other day?
there was two of them the other day that I had sent out, and I got a check for the one, and the other person never even responded. So I'm getting ready to send a little bit more harshly worded letter.
So here's some of the programs they offer: data analytics,
Yeah, it's
uh,
in that same type of. So go up to career certificates at the very top.
professionals.
The very top, pull. Keep going right to the left, to the left, to the left. Career certificates. Do you know how to read? There you go. There's all of them. Think it would be under digital marketing and e-commerce.
You have to pay for this course?
So are those? Oh
Because
yeah.
I know the
Uh-uh.
the other one, some of them you have to pay for, like the cybersecurity. It's like
Right.
a 6 month course that you take online.
Right. The one for Google AdSense is not a paid for course. They want people using AdSense, so this is to. So let's see. I'm going to re-include
Oh, okay.
a new copy of her invoice.
Check that out. I might learn some stuff about the AdSense program. I don't know that. Might be a fun little course to take.
That was under receivable, and this was for right there.
That's true, Edward. I think it is. I think it's going to definitely slim down certain aspects of jobs, but you're always going to need that person to input the stuff to the AI of what you want. And we're going to have to wait and see if they actually get off their ass and put any laws in place and see how that affects the whole AI programs. They may make it illegal to where AIs can only be so smart, and that's it. There may be a cutoff on them, unless it's like a military application or something. Of course, Andrew, we got to manage it. It's already starting to get out of control to a certain extent. Especially when you get all these morons out here, they're going to start believing all these stupid deepfake videos are going to start popping up everywhere. You know, it's going to be like some movie star that says something racist or something stupid, and people are going to believe it and run with it. And the poor person isn't going to know anything about it until it's too late. I don't know, Andrew. I'll have to wait and see. I mean, it might create certain jobs in other areas of the workforce, but I think it's going to kill some jobs. Especially people like in the artistic side of stuff. They're going to have the hardest.
Yep.
Because, you know, if a company wants like, you know, an ad, they don't have to pay somebody to draw something. They can just go to an AI and say, I want this. Spits out 1,000 different renditions in seconds.
Oh yeah. It's
You can go from a whole team of guys in a room to maybe one dude that's inputting the information that they want and picking the design, you know. I think with video games and stuff like that, it's going to be a big. You know, these AIs get advanced enough, they might be able to build a game like Flight Simulator in just a few days.
well, yeah, they're already saying that AI can code faster and more. They pose these problems to programmers, and AI was able to program the solution to the problem faster and more
Oh,
efficiently, more efficient code. Uh, Medicine. If someone doesn't clamp, I'm guessing that someone higher up in the medical industry will start clamping down on this, but they showed scans to AI of I think it was tumors. They showed basically these scans to doctors and to AI, and they trained these AIs on medical scans, and the AI was able to detect problems that the doctors that had years of experience
couldn't even see it.
couldn't see on the scan. Then they're like,
Wow.
and they look and they're like, that right there, that I wouldn't have even noticed that. That's just an anomaly, but the AI was able to get it faster. So in that respect, I think, for the price of getting the scan and having it run through the AI and not having a person, I think that should bring medical costs down. But
Oh, that's what you would
the
hope
medical
for.
the medical industry will say, you know what? We own the AI and access to it. So we're going to charge more for the accuracy.
Oh yeah, they'll come up with some reason to keep the price the same or higher.
Or the insurance companies will bypass the doctors.
Well, that's like that AI documentary on Netflix I was watching, right? These guys were doing the same thing. They were using AI in medical applications to see if it could figure out new enzymes, different things that they've never discovered before. Well, one of the creators decided, hey, well, let's take it and let's just see what it does in an evil sense. And it said, so they took VX gas and they said, we want you to find something more deadlier than this. And it was coming up with these fucking like deadly viruses and shit that were like 1,000 times worse than VX gas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just coming up with all this shit. And well, the government caught wind of it and asked them to come in and they wanted to look at their research. Well, apparently all the experts in the government got freaked the fuck out. They were like, oh my God, like that this AI figured out all this shit. And they thought that they had done it on some big ass supercomputer. No, they did it on an old ass iMac that they had sitting in their office. Ran all this data and figured all this shit out. And it freaked them when the government asked them, they said, oh, what supercomputer they use? They said, we didn't use a supercomputer. We used an
Yeah,
old iMac.
and so the question is, and this is the debate that's going on right now, uh, should we avoid AI or is it a race to the first uh, AGI, the artificial general intelligence? So right now it's all trained on models and stuff. The general intelligence will be more what we think of when we think of science fiction AI, where the AI will be able to think conceptually and logically, and that's where it starts being like Kit from Knight Rider or Hal from 2001: Space Odyssey. That type of artificial intelligence.
Oh, there's no stopping that because all the
Once you get to
governments around the
AGI,
world.
yeah, they're pretty sure that somebody has already cracked AI that is able to improve its own code. At that point, it becomes exponentially better and better and more refined, more refined, more refined. Right now, it still requires people to work on the hardware side of it. So we're okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that it's government wise, that ain't good. Trust me, that's exactly where they're trying to go because all the governments around the world are in a race to be the first to have it.
Mhm.
Just like quantum computing, they're all racing to have the first active, fully functional quantum computer.
Mhm.
And the
So
government's spending billions every year on that shit.
yeah, it'll be AI versus AI and who has the better AI.
Yep. That's going to be something else, man. I'll tell
Um,
you what.
I think that as far as humans, I think learn how to do things without technology, learn how to do some actual things, learn how to do some survival type stuff. Because we all rely, I mean, right now, if the internet went down, how would you communicate? How would you talk to anybody? You wouldn't know, you wouldn't have anybody except for the people that are in your neighborhood.
Right.
Do you know your next door
Yeah.
neighbor?
A couple of them, but yeah,
Yeah,
not all
just
of
in
them. Just
nodding
a couple of them.
and so suddenly it's just families against families.
That's
It
true, though.
because you wouldn't be able to communicate. How would you contact your cousin who lives in the next town over? You know,
Right.
you wouldn't be able to contact me except
Yeah,
by
because you
going there.
and landlines are the thing of the past too. I mean, fucking, you get these so-called landlines from the internet company. It's just a fucking phone that plugs into your router. So if the internet goes down, you don't have a fucking house phone either.
So if our next war is not a conventional war, which it would be like, I mean, Gen X, we grew up under the fear of nuclear war. But if the next war is just a technology war, and suddenly we're back to, you know, 1820.
Yeah, that's pretty scary thinking about
Do,
that.
yeah, do you know how to go out and catch a fish? Do you know how to go out and even to go out and forage for like actual food around you? Do you know what grows in your area that is edible? I do.
I mean, I know how to fish. Never really hunted or anything, but I mean, the majority of the population hasn't. In a lot of first world countries, I mean,
Hmm.
because we've gotten so comfortable with just going to the grocery store,
Hmm. That's where food comes
stuff
from.
like that. Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, grocery stores were kind of a double edged sword. They were a blessing to society, but a curse at the same time because society can't really function without
Right.
working grocery stores
You
because you
know,
see what people do when they freak out when the power goes out.
now I'm weird in the spring and summer. If I'm out and doing stuff, I'm constantly eating, just grabbing stuff and eating it. Because like, do you know like dandelions? People hate them. They're in their yard. Get rid of them. Every part of a dandelion's edible.
Yeah, and I've always heard that they were really good for you.
Cattails, if you get to cattails when they are still young, and actually the root is always got some starches in it, and you can get those starches out, and those are good sources of calories. But early shoots are edible.
Oh,
When
she's
the
a fucking
before
idiot, Russell.
before the cattails actually puff out and they're still just the spike coming up, those
Uh-huh.
you can cut those off and you can boil those, eat them kind of like corn on the cob.
What was that? The fucking
Dandelions don't taste
grandma,
like shit.
grand,
Dandelion greens, like as a salad, dandelion greens, excellent source of iron. Very good.
like grandma's boys, like dandelion. What do you say? Dandelion tea. If I take a sip,
Hmm?
he goes, "Oh, yeah." I've never had one, so I couldn't tell you. I've never actually picked one up and ate it. But like I said, I've always heard they were really good for you.
Well, the leaves, dandelion greens, they are kind of like they're a little bitter, kind of like or they're a little harsh, but pretty good. like arugula, kind of. You know how, or I'm trying to think of what kind of other green that is popular that would be.
I got a number, 0945.
Might not be anything to compare it to. Might be its own thing.
Name drop, Joe.
But I mean, I think there would be a good amount of the population that would learn to adapt. And then, of course, you're going to weed out the weak ones really quick.
There will be mass starvation.
But
There will be mass starvation. There will be murder, people raiding, stealing.
oh, that's what I'm saying. The weak ones would get weeded out pretty quickly, but humans also have always been known to adapt very well.
Oh yeah, there will be
So there,
some survival.
there would be people that never had done any of that stuff, but they would figure it out really
Okay,
quick.
so
Yeah.
but what you'd be adapting to most likely in this scenario would be the other country that defeated us and took out our entire structure coming back in and trying to switch back on saying we're in charge now.
You see a lot of pissed off rednecks with guns still, though.
Country boy will survive. Yep.
Now,
There's
I actually find quantum computing a little scarier than AI, just from what I've seen about it. Just because that's something that can literally take everything that we have password protected,
Mhm.
and it will be able to figure out an entire country's credit cards, everything in a
Mhm.
matter of seconds. And that's what's scary, like, because that's what could shut down your entire system, I think, quicker than AI would.
Well, that's two different things. You're talking about hardware versus software.
Yeah, but the thing is quantum computer versus like a supercomputer. Supercomputer has to run through the calculations one at a time.
Mhm.
Quantum computer takes them
Right.
all at one single time.
So we get quantum computing going along with AI control. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the quantum computers is what needs to get up that like that. If I had to focus on one or the other, that would be the one I would be focusing on, I think, first.
Yeah.
Just from what I've read about both of them. Only because that kind of gives you a protection once that's up and running your systems. They say the only way to actually hack a quantum computer is you literally have to be able to break the laws of physics, which you
Mhm.
can't do. So I think once you get that up and it's actually protecting your system,
Yes,
that's
Mark,
the
you do
way.
have to be careful on what you eat. Don't just go out and grab any plant out there. Uh, there was a book that was out, and my parents had it when I was a kid called, I think it was Wild Edibles. Pretty interesting. It would talk about different wild edibles in different regions. And I'm sure you can go on and do research and find stuff, wild edibles in whatever region you're in. Like here, poke greens.
Cannibalism.
I get poke greens every year, but you have to boil those like 3 times or else they're poisonous.
After watching that movie Thanksgiving, no, cannibalism is even grosser now. That movie
Yeah,
was gross.
I
Straight
haven't seen
stuck
it.
that straight stuck that whole girl into the oven and cooked her like a turkey, folded her legs up and everything. And then he puts one of the little turkey things in there, the little plastic
Haven't
things that
seen
can
it.
pop out. Well, do you like movies like that? Like horror movies?
I saw the trailer for it when
Uh,
uh
well, I'm
the
not giving much away.
Grindhouse
So
when Grindhouse came out.
yeah, I mean, it was a good movie. I was actually surprised it wasn't bad for just a basic horror movie. It was pretty good.
See, mushrooms and
Mushrooms scare me.
toadstools. Yeah, you know,
Mushrooms scare me. I'd have to like if I wanted to learn mushrooms, it would have to be with somebody who's an expert on them that already
Mhm.
knows their shit. Because those are scary, man. You get the wrong mushroom and you pretty much killed yourself or anybody you
Yeah,
fed it
except
to.
for there's like the morels are really easy to identify, but
Like
a
we get
lot of
these
them
one.
you look and you're like, okay, that looks like a edible, and there's lookalikes, and if you don't
Right.
know what you're doing, and some of them you can only tell by looking at their spores. and seeing the spore pattern they make on paper. So you take the stem out and they put the cap down and then let it sit there and then pull off and you check out how the spores came out of the fins.
Now we have these ones that grow in our lawn sometimes, and if you accidentally step on one or kick it or something, all this like red shit comes out of it.
You know, like the puff balls.
Yeah, it's like a powder, red powder
Mhm.
shit that comes out of it. I don't know if they're poisonous or not, but I've never
Yeah,
actually
mushrooms
looked to
scare
see
me.
what they were. Well, unfortunately, guys, I gotta jump off. I gotta head to the grocery store. So
So Mark, do you go mushroom hunting?
I'll see y'all later.
Hey,
All right,
Justin,
adios.
thanks for covering for me.
Yeah.